Okay, we're at the end of round 4. And we slip stitch to join. Now I put that one there and it just don't look right. I think I'm gonna take that one out. Normally we have 2 in our chain 2 space. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 working up to it. And this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in our beginning. So I should have 2 right here. There should be a chain 2 space, but I'm just going to attach it, or should I? What should I do? I don't. I want it to look right here. If I put my 2, no, we want it to seam up. So I'm going to do my slip stitch and join it. And that way it's in line with the rest. It's seamed up. So cut off our yarn and we finish off this join the stitch here. This is how I just learned to do this. If you grab it with your fingernail, pull it on down, it makes it good and tight. It ain't coming out. Okay, so we'll sew that tail in when we sew in this shoulder right here that I've marked. And yeah, you can't see it, but anyhow, that's the shoulder. So the next step is sewing the seams in the shoulder. In her pictures and her instructions, she doesn't tell you how big to make the shoulder. The armhole, I keep saying shoulder, anyhow, the armhole. So in times past, and I've got pictures here where I did 5 holes, but when I size up the 2 sides, if I take, both armholes and measure them together, it looks like I need to do 6. So I'm going to skip 6 holes and start sewing my side seam. So how I count the 6 holes is I lay it up here even, and I count this chain 2 space here on both sides. I got them laid up against each other. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. In times past, I stopped at 5, but this armhole is a little bit smaller, so I think this will help more in circumference, or not circumference, making it more symmetrical, more even maybe. Anywho, so that's my plan. That's what I'm going to do. So I skip those. I put a, what do you call it here, to hold it, and then I go down 7. I think it's in that picture. Yes, we go down 7. So that's 7 of these little holes. I don't count these big ones, but I mean, you can, it doesn't matter. But I mean, you count however you want to measure it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I didn't do this before, I got on camera. And 7. So I'll put a marker here, and that will be the area that I sew up. And she does recommend sewing instead of doing like a crochet stitch of any kind. And I have done the crochet stitch. It's just whatever you prefer. But that's the next steps, is sewing the shoulder and the side seam. Okay, here is where my shoulder seam is going to go. These colors. Here's the armhole color all the way down the shoulder, and up. And here's my marker for where it's going to start my armhole. I mean, my shoulder, geez Louise, I cannot get it right. I got a pin in my mouth, so bear with me. So I'm going to sew that up with this second color I had pulled off. Remember back in the beginning I told you to pull off some so we could do this sewing? Well, I didn't realize the color changed and I lost it. I don't know where the blue is, but there it went. This definitely is not going to match this area, but we could use it if we had to, but it would be real noticeable down here, which might be a good idea to bring it all together. But this is just as good. I think it'll work probably better because it's just better. So anyhow, when you're doing this, take note of your color change in your ball And this is the end of my ball, and it is all yellow. It was a pretty big amount of yellow. So I should, well, still, I have green up here in the shoulder, and I have blue. So I did good cutting this off at the time I did, which was just before it started switching real good to yellow. Anyhow, I just wanted to put that note in here too, that I'm going to sew this up, and I'm just going to do needle and thread. Here's the shoulder that I just sewed up. Okay, here's the neck. Here's the other armhole. Okay, here is. Okay, so now what we have left to do is this area here to sew up. And I might just do 6 instead of 7. Hello. Okay, here's the side seam. I'm going in one stitch on one side and the other stitch on the other side. Come on, a little focus. Too close. And I did it 2-stranded because I didn't want to have to go back up. But it looks like this. It doesn't look bad. I'm not crossing over. I'm just doing side to side. I don't know what kind of stitch you call that, but that's what I'm doing. That's basically how I did the shoulder seam too. But I did 1 strand there. But anyhow, there you go. Just thought I'd show you how I'm sewing it up. And you can do a single crochet if you want to, or slip stitch crochet, however you want to do it. But that's how I'm doing it. And I'm still thinking about only doing 6 instead of 7. But I'll try it on and see. All right. Here's that side. And if I don't drop my phone, here's this side. Here's the seam. It puckered a little. I went 1 extra. Can't tell, but anyway, I'm not an extra. I went like 6.5. Okay, here's that side seam close up. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.5, basically. That's where I'm going to end it. Yeah, that's where I'm going to end it. And that'll be the side. Okay, here is the shoulder seam. Close up, about as close as I can get anyway. That's how it looks. I just did the same side to side. And I keep getting my big fingers in the way, but that's how it looks. And I did single strand. On the sides seam, I did 2 strands. But, you know, it's just always what you want. But there you go. That's just a little glance at the side seam, or shoulder seam. Okay. We're working the trim now. And the trim is pattern 3A, or graph 3, pattern A. And the beginning of it is got to be divisible by 12. And she tells us this in the instructions to make sure that our stitches get to be divisible by 12, that we have enough for the pattern to work. Well, when I counted all these stitches all the way around, it was too shy of being divisible by 12. So during my process here, I'm going to add 2 stitches somewhere to the mix so that we end up with 480 stitches. So I guess in order to do that, I'll skip a stitch. Anyhow, so what we do is we attach our yarn, and I'm just going right here in the center where we did our seam. You attach it, and the first is, if I find the right yarn, oh well, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, looks kind of bad, but anyway, chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. It all works out in the wash. Now we want to skip 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I keep going off screen. I'm so sorry. And I don't know if my focus is working either. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In the 6th stitch, we start off with a V stitch. of 2 double crochets. That's 1. There's 2. Then a chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Double crochet. I missed that whole stitch, so I'm trying to fix it with our second one there. Our second set. Okay, now we chain 4, 2, 3, 4. And we skip 5 again, and this time we do a double crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In the 6th stitch, we do our double crochet. So there you have it. That is the repeat for this round 1 of graph 3, pattern A, for our trim. Okay, I'm at the end of round 1. We're repeating graph 3A for the trim. And I showed you a picture. I tried to insert it. I skipped 6 on several different places to make this come out even here at the end. Because of those 2 we were off. So now go up 1, 2, 3 and do your slip stitch, chain 3, turn your work, and now we start row 2, which is chain 3, 1, 2, 3, double crochet in the first double crochet of the V stitch, and they're counting the whole thing the V stitch, so we're going into this first one, double crochet. Now we chain 2, oops, and now you do the crown is going to be 1, 3, 1, which is 1 double crochet, chain 3, 1 double crochet. Now we go back down the side, chain 2, double crochet in that last double crochet. Now we chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and we go over here to that middle stitch and put a double crochet in it. And that is the repeat for this round. There you go. Listen to that wind. We're in Kansas, so we got Kansas winds. Okay, the end of round 2. I slip stitch to join right here into the top, or into the 3rd chain. Now we chain 3 and turn our work. And we chain 2. Still got these Kansas winds blowing, but it's not so bad today. Double crochet in the first double crochet of that V stitch. 1 double crochet around the chain 2 space. Chain 2. Now we do our crown, which is 2, 3, 2. 2 double crochets. Chain 3. 1, 2, 3. 2 double crochets to finish off the crown. Chain 2. Double crochet in the chain 2 space. Whoop. 1 double crochet in that chain 2 space. Yeah. Double crochet in the last double crochet. Whoops. Chain 2 and double crochet in that double crochet at the end of the set. And there you go. That is your repeat for round 3. Okay, we are at the end of round 3. And you slip stitch to join. And I'm going to go back 1, 2. Make sure. Sometimes it's hard to see. So count either 3 or 2. Chain 3. Get back, little cat. Now, turn your work. Now this round is chain 2 again. And we double crochet into the second double crochet. Then we put 2 double crochets in the chain 2 space. Then we chain 1, and now we do 3, 3, 3 in the crown. So that's 3 double crochets, 2, 3, chain 3, then 3 double crochets, and we do the same thing going back down. We chain 1 now. Then we put 2 in the chain 2 space. Double crochet in the second to the last. And chain 2 and put a double crochet in our one at the end, the dividing one. And that is your repeat for round 1, 2, 3, 4. I think it's round 4 we're on of the trim. Okay, end of round 3. I slip stitched, and now I'm going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Turn my work, and on this final round, and here is the last of the yarn that we have left. Not much, but I'm sure it'll make it around, I think. Okay, so chain up 3, turn your work, and your first stitch is no chains. You just go directly into the next 3 double crochets. Do a double crochet in each of those 3. And then double crochet around the chain 1 space. Double crochet in the next 3. And then at the crown, the top of the V stitch, we do 3, 3, 3. That's 3 double crochet, chain 3, 3 double crochet. One, 2, 3. One, 2, 3. Now we double crochet in each of the next 3. 1, 2, 3. Double crochet around the chain 1 space. Double crochet in the next 3. This one is using a lot of yarn, so we just hope we have enough yarn to make it through. But if you don't, you just rip it out to the beginning and you're done, because it looks just fine like it is. So there's that. You have your stitches there, and your very last one is just double crochet in that midway stitch, and you're done with that repeat for this round. Okay, ran out of yarn. So instead of ripping it all out, what I opted to do was cut my yarn, and I'm about a third of the way around. So I cut my yarn. I ended it here at the end of one of the sets. I did a half double crochet, single double crochet, and then a, doesn't look right. Oh, that was my little chain thing. Okay. Where I was cutting it off. So there's my single crochet after my half, and then I'm just doing a slip stitch in here. Thought I lost the yarn. And then I do my little chain 2 to end it. So why I'm doing that is with the rest of the yarn, I still have a little bit left, is what I'm getting at. I don't have enough to make it all the way around, but I did get a third of the way. So I'm cutting it off, and I'm gonna go back here to where I started and go in the opposite direction, because this sits on your hip, and it will look stupid if I left it, you know, nice and full, and then this half being real thin. So I'm going to start back over from here and use up the rest of my yarn going back in the opposite direction. And it all gets lost in the ruffles, and I'll show you the 2 ending places and the result. If we don't like it, rip it out and just end up with round 4. Okay, I almost got as far as I did on the first pass. Here's where the seam is, right here. Okay, put them together, and here's the end of my second pass. Right here, where I ended it, and then you keep going, and it's just a little ways, and here's the end of the other pass. So we had, you know, maybe a third left to go all the way around. There's the first end. So that's what it looks like that way. Now if you look at it this way, you see all these ruffles. You just don't see it. Except for, of course, the strings I have to put in. But anyway, there it is. There's where we're going along. And, I mean, you can see the difference, but when you're wearing it, it's not gonna jump out at anybody. So I'm gonna put it on, sew on my end, see what it looks like. If I don't like it, rip it out. But there you go. That's pretty much it. I love it.